That's what's happening. That is one happy cat.
Yeah. Do you want me to move him?
No, it's fine.
He's laying on my chest and like part of my neck. Well, and I've got the laptop propped up and he's just like watching the laptop with me.
It's actually fine. I mean, it happened like when I'm not even live yet on my Twitch channel, so.
Yeah, Joel's a good boy.
Actually, I'm still hosting Steve.
How's Steve doing? Is he all right?
Yeah, everybody's fine, actually. What
That's
in
cool.
the world?
I talk to other people a little bit more often, but I haven't talked to Steve much.
Okay, welcome to Anime4All podcast. We are here to talk about Dragon Prince Season 2, episodes 7-9. As we've done before, we're going to talk about this as, like, I guess, one conclusive plot leading up to the Season 2 finale, which I will say these last 3 episodes have been, they've been the best of, like, this season so far.
I like these episodes as much as I liked Avatar or more. That's saying a lot. I was a huge fan of Avatar.
I mean, I think these episodes, for everything that's been happening, have culminated to everything.
It's amazing. It's a really, really good story.
Well, now that everything started to fulfill itself and unroll, things that I didn't think was going to happen actually happened in episode 8. Actually, it was a little bit of season 7. I mean, episode 7, and then it fully unraveled in episode 8. Essentially, we can start off talking about first of all, like, I guess the elephant in the room with Varen and the elf in the well, his name, I forgot his name. Dang it, Alvaros.
Something like that, yeah.
I think it's Alvaros, like the elf in the mirror, who a little bit of a theory I had that maybe he's the reason why elves are looked at as evil, because I mean he doesn't give off a friendly vibe, but my biggest question about him is, like, his name was first given to us like episode 6, when Callum and Aaron's father brought him up, but he didn't speak negatively of him, and I assume that maybe he's a good guy, but maybe the reason why he I guess he didn't get a chance to speak negatively about him is because maybe he was, like, sealed away or whatever. So he couldn't have posed a plot. He couldn't have posed a problem. Um, in the immediate or far future.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe he didn't need to warn Callum about him. But it's a very weird thing. I mean, we pretty much come back on the tail end of, like, Varen failing at the council to get the help from the other countries to, I guess, forge on a plot to kill mythical beings, magical beings. Correction. We kind of come off that after they find out there's something in the sky. Apparently, Rhaeda and everybody else, like, they were hiding in a cave near a town where that dragon was flying above.
Right.
We get a glimpse at, like, what Rhaena was saying in season 1 about humans attacking magical creatures unprovoked.
Yeah.
Because Soren,
the dragon was guilty of FWB though. FWD.
flying while dragon.
Yeah.
I mean,
they had to shoot him.
I mean, the fact that he was flying too close, he was making people uneasy. I mean, well, she was making people feel uneasy.
Yeah.
It was like, I mean,
it was
like,
a clear case of FWD. He should have never been in that neighborhood with all those people.
I was trying to avoid the obvious joke you're making there, but I guess since you've already made it, like, it's got to continue on.
I just think if they kill this dragon, there could be rioting.
I guess
from the fairy nations.
Oh dear God! I guess, like, while, like, we're bringing up the dragon being shot, we also see Soren and Claudia, making their way to the I guess the town that Callum and Rhaena are ironically actually nearby, which is kind of
Mm,
quite funny. The Prince Soren takes charge, says that he's the crown knight. I think is what he said he was, and essentially
yeah.
shoots the dragon, misses a lot. Claudia reveals that one of the weird things about Claudia that she's hanging on to magical beings' body parts, and apparently has a griffin's eye in her pocket. I kind of find it funny that Soren makes reference to the fact that so you always carry that around with you, and I was like, that's actually pretty clever that they actually had to make a snide remark because I was thinking the exact thing when she pulled it out. I was like,
Yeah.
do you always carry that on you? Like, what else on you?
And yet they didn't make her perfect because later on she doesn't have the magical thing she wishes she had to heal him.
I
So she's got like a lot of spell components with her, but she doesn't have everything, and I appreciated that.
mean that's true. I mean her magic has got to be
Mm-hmm.
nerfed at some point. But they shoot
And
the dragon.
to find Soren, they had to do sort of a fetch quest, remember, and climb to the top of the mountain. So she often has the handy spell that she needs, but not every single time. And I thought that was a great limitation that like she doesn't like just have like she's not like someone that walks around with like a miracle bag with just what they need at every moment. Like they actually, she often has what she needs, but not every time.
Yeah, I guess to culminate the plot of episode 7 really quickly. Soren and Claudia are there. They shoot the dragon. Well, Claudia shoots the dragon with a magical bow, and it sends the dragon flying over the cave that Reina and the group are staying in into the forest. Pretty much to go after the dragon. Well,
Mm-hmm.
actually, I should say Aaron somehow manages to get off the cliff way before us seeing him and run to the dragon in the forest. I thought that was impressive how quick he was.
Mm-hmm.
um, Essentially, they also leave Bait in charge of what's his name? I keep wanting to call him Aragon, but that's Zim. Zim. I don't know why I want to call him Aragon, but references. But they leave like this. They live. Bait with Zim, and they go off into the forest. They discover that the dragon was shot by an arrow, and we get like more references to the fact that Reina still has an issue with humans, which is she has a right to. Because I keep when I saw that I kept thinking about the whole Reina saying that humans attack them unprovoked, and I was like, wow, they attacked that dragon unprovoked. Like I guess I can see why you know magical creatures hate humans as much as they do because like we start a lot of stuff. I mean that's kind of true to life too. We start a lot of stuff we had no business doing.
Was that? Do you think that dragon was trying to antagonize them or terrorize them though? Like,
What
why
the?
was he doing that?
I mean that's the thing. I don't know what she was. The dragon was a she. 'Cause I think he revealed that was she, or unless Reina revealed that was she. But I,
Probably,
that
but
that's like, I mean that like I don't know what she was doing above that thing. That's my I mean that was a question that never got really resolved because I was half expecting this dragon to start speaking English. Unfortunately, it she didn't. So that confirms that nobody, unless you're a humanoid looking, speaks a language that humans can understand. Um,
I
so I
would
guess
say that Bait. I would say that Bait at least understands them, even if he doesn't speak it.
well, I guess yeah. I'm not saying the dragon couldn't understand them because I don't think she could understand them, but
Same with the Dragon Prince. The Dragon Prince definitely understands people. I don't
yeah.
think
I
it's
mean,
just Edwin either.
no, my point was that I was expecting at least if anything could speak English. I'm not saying that they couldn't understand the English, but they couldn't reciprocate anything in English. I was hoping that dragons would because they would have to be the oldest thing in this world. Then
Yeah.
again, I say it has to be the oldest thing in this world, but then we have like elves who could live for thousands of years apparently, at least in any other like literature they've ever been included in. So who's to say that they
Well,
don't
it's
live?
it goes.
Hmm?
Some literature says they can. Some literature says they can't.
I mean, it depends on who's writing them, but like I mean, that's the case of anything. But I just like as far as I can tell, dragons don't like they don't speak. At least that dragon didn't speak English. Granted, it's a dragon that might be able to. That might be able to. Like at least help me like get some hope that maybe dragons can understand can speak English. We'll get to that
Yeah.
later because that's the final thing we're talk about. But pretty much to get that put the dragon, they're like they help the dragon get the arrow out. The dragon looks like it's about to attack, but doesn't. Um, know that she doesn't see the dragon princess until like after that fact. They get the dragon out. The dragon is falling asleep. Uh, they calm her down, but all of a sudden a group of knights on horses come through the forest, and it's Soren and Claudia, and they run away. Reyna doesn't want to run away, and later on regrets running away. But after that point, they all tie her down. Soren thinks she's dead. Obviously, we all know she's not.
Yeah.
Which is the irony of that. But essentially, all this really culminates to drop by the fact that Claudia was trying to find something because she didn't have everything to heal him. Essentially, there's a fight ensue with Reyna trying to save the dragon. The dragon,
Mm-hmm.
who at the time I didn't realize actually knocked Soren into a rock and apparently broke his spine. Pretty much leading him to not being able to walk. We find out at the end of episode 7 that he can't walk, or at least move any part of his body. You know, just his like I don't think he can move his neck. But yeah, that dragon like I was like, dang. I mean, he had that coming. But
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dang, they really did a number. I didn't think they would go that dark because I don't think at any point in like Avatar series anybody got hurt so bad they lost the ability to walk. At least I don't think they did.
There's got to be some time, but I can't think of one.
I mean, I mean, that was kind of dark for the show. I mean, not 100% dark, but like it's kind of getting close to that whole. Like, they're not afraid to do something that
Mm-hmm.
shocks you and surprises you. That was one of the major points I was shocked about. I was like, wow, they decided to, hurt him that badly. But then again, I think it's one of those. He was a plot device to move Claudia's character in a certain direction. Um,
Yeah.
this is like really what I came to. In episode 8 is where we pick up a lot of the talking here.
Hey, I know we're on. I'm trying to move things along, but I do have an important observation for episode 7 that we should just back up to for a minute.
Sure. Sure.
Lord Viren, when he gets, obviously he gets very much backed into a corner. He's failed his mission to start the war. He's been caught impersonating authority, all those things. He goes downstairs and he's about to take desperate measures with the elves. So what I'd like to point out, though, is that there's a little reminder moment there that they slip in that I think is going to be important later, which is his prisoner, the redheaded guy whose name I forget.
Oh,
they make it look like it's a comedy, like a little comic relief moment where he gets up and he's like, "Hey, Mr. Viren, how's it going?" And he's like, how can you be chained down like that and so upset? And he's like, "Well, I prefer to think of it as chained up." What we can very easily miss about that moment is that guy has been a witness to everything that's been going on. So we think at the end, I thought the first time I saw it at the end, that when the elf hides himself, everything's kind of tidied up. But I don't know if that elf knows that guy's even there. That guy's seen a lot of the stuff Lord Viren's done and can testify to it. Trapping the elf in the coin. Remember, he knows that happened. He knows he's been talking to that elf, whose name begins with 2 A's, whose name I forget too.
I mean, no, he doesn't because Varen closes that door every time he's in there. I don't know
if that doesn't mean he can't hear it and stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure he can hear Varen's voice. I'm saying sorry. I'm pretty sure he can hear Varen's voice, but I don't think he knows who he's talking to. Well, I mean, actually, he definitely did say his name out loud, so maybe that's one of those things. He definitely did say his name out loud, but he definitely. I mean, he could. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's an important scene. I mean, now you bring it up, but I was more disappointed at like I was expecting something stupid to gonna happen there, but apparently not. I mean, but like, I mean, I get there's a lot that happens with Varen and that mirror guy. I have expected that mirror guy to be in the mirror after he, covered the mirror over with a cloth. But I was shocked to find out apparently he went off and did his own thing. I'm not sure where he went. Also, I guess before we bring this up, apparently he didn't see this, and maybe I missed, maybe my eyes were wrong. But when he came back the second time, or he was talking to them, like, he came the second time, he was reading that book. Did it look to me that book had a face on it? Like there's like one of the bookends had like a face on it or something like that when he closed it.
I didn't notice.
Okay, maybe it was just me, and maybe I was trying to figure. Like I kept on rewinding that scene, and I was like, "What is up with that book? Why is there's a face on it or something?" But maybe I'm wrong because I mean, if you didn't see it, clearly it wasn't there. So okay, we're gonna move on from that. I'm just crazy.
I don't know. I was soaking that up, but I watched them all one big glut because I was so much enjoying it. I watched them all in like 2 days.
I mean, I watched them all in one day, but I mean, I always watch them the day of. Uh, moving on to episode.
I watched them in 2 days, but like I usually try to spread them out over the week because I like them so much.
Oh,
I couldn't help myself. It was too good.
I mean, yeah, I mean, is episode. Actually, I guess before we move on, because episode 8 kind of starts off with what happens to Callum. I forgot to bring that up in episode 7. Callum, as because they come back to fight Claudia and Soren, the aftermath is Soren unable to walk, but also something else happens. Um, and it's the typical, the hero does something stupid or foolish and has repercussions type of thing. Um, uh, pretty much, Reina goes by herself to go and save the dragon because, like, she tells Colin that she's not asking him to go with her. Then what happens is that he feels like he needs to, he feels like he can do something. He remembers that he has Claudia's book, which I forgot he even had, so that's also really good, like, forward thinking from the creative standpoint to remember that he had that book. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Ends up going down the hill and uses dark magic and uses a spell that apparently he saw Claudia use. Which, by the way, they keep bringing the fact that Callum can pick up spells just from looking at somebody perform it, which is actually a quite interesting skill. Kind of keeps the whole like I'm meant to do magic thing, floating in the air. Apparently, before he's able to cast a spell, like Claudia's like, you shouldn't do anything rash. You don't know what like someone should really teach you how to do that. And this like, I like how you said it too. He's like, I already know how to do it. You taught me, and just crushes the mucus, and then says a spell, and his eyes go all dark and Harry Potter on
Mm-hmm.
her. Turns to the
He's a
chains,
prodigy.
hmm,
Prodigy.
probably, and goes, and then first turns the chains that are on the dragon into snakes and essentially gets the snakes off the dragon and start going towards the knights that are with Soren. He ends up passing out because obviously he can't use dark magic, or he shouldn't. He ends up passing out. The snakes apparently I thought they were gonna stop being snakes, but apparently I guess dark magic spells or just spells in general are constantly active after the caster casts them. I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty much yeah, we like that's a little bit of like so Callum is now out by the end of at episode 7. We start episode 8 out with Callum, like they're moving, trying to head to Zadia with Zim, and Callum can't move anymore, or he's trying to move but he can't because he's like tired, and Raina's rubbing in the fact that he used dark magic when he wasn't supposed to. Like I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
I felt like Raina like I don't know what they're trying to do with Raina there, but it seemed kind of like I don't know. It seems kind of at her character to be rubbing something like that in, considering that she's not perfect either. But
What he did was
I know it was stupid, but at the
no,
same
but I
time,
mean, it was the fairy equivalent of like cannibalism. Like he did one of the most reprehensible things she could possibly think of when he used fairy magic that way. Like that was a deep violation. For her to not be more mad is a testament to her character more than the fact that she wasn't less mad.
I get all that, but at the same time, it's he was trying to help, and the only way he could figure out to do at that time was
Mm-hmm.
like to use the magic that and it wasn't like Callum wanted to use dark magic. He like I could already tell just from the way. I mean, even when he came out of that bush area, he was like covered in darkness at that point. When he came out, he kind of still like looked a little bit dark in a really weird, sinister way. It was almost like he accepted that the only way he could help was use the magic that he did not want to use, um, and like help Reina out and at the cost of whatever it was going to cost him. Which granted he didn't know what it was going to cost him. Um,
Yeah.
so it was one of those things where like he did the only thing he could to help her out, and I'm not saying like he shouldn't have. I mean, at the same time, like, I can easily say that he shouldn't have done that, but at the same time, if they hadn't done that, the dragon wouldn't have gotten away.
Mm-hmm.
And gotten free. But it's just one of those things. Actually, I keep forgetting about something too. The main reason why the dragon even gets away or flies away at this point is because it sees the dragon prince. Um, I guess it kind of gives a testament towards like how important that icon is. That even like a dragon who's in the middle of a ferocious attack would just calm down and leave. It's like that was quite
Mm-hmm.
interesting to see that happen. So we're gonna probably see that a whole heck of a lot more with with Zim's presence being out there. But at least the magic creatures knowing that Zim is like out there. But we're dealing with the aftermath of Callum using dark magic. He's like he goes to sleep. The next thing he says is that I'm uncomfortable because his eyes are closed. We don't know what was happening there, but we do go into his psyche because now we're having what I like to call like the Callum version of Zuko's sickness. Like that was like to me that was like the best thing they could have done with that entire sequence that they had him get through that entire thing was
Mm-hmm.
him going through his mind and all like because I think he said earlier that he has all this knowledge in his brain but he doesn't know how to process it and he pretty much goes through his journey in his mind after dealing with the darkness that apparently was in him, which was just him in the hood, who apparently had come to terms with using dark magic, almost convincing himself to take the cube and use dark magic. It's about we see that symbol, and it's a symbol that like that Erebos drew in the and I guess in front of like Varen, so we know that's dark magic symbol. Uh, but apparently it isn't on the cubes, so clearly it isn't like I guess an accepted form of magic. Or people don't think of it as magic, but
Who do you think that was? That version of him was? I see that as like the person he could be if he went to dark magic, like,
well
or like
here's the
maybe
thing
like
that
a
I
dark magic like embodiment of him, like kind of like in Star Wars when you see the dark like side of yourself, like they've done that several times in Star Wars.
understand, but I was more questioning that. I was wondering, is this the thing that like Varen and Claudia saw in their mind, and 'cause I really more interested in this is something that Claudia saw after she used that magic for the first time, because we I go back to an earlier episode like when she was talking to Callum about like how humans can't use magic and this is not something they were born with, um and she was saying that like this is the only way that she could see me being able to do what I like to do, which is cast spells. Do you think that like maybe this is one of those contradictions? This is part of our personality. This is what happens to you if you take upon that dark self. You just become a contradiction. Like maybe like it's like maybe it's kind of the main reason because we did after Callum rejects that and we see like the very pasty, very white skinned, black eyed version of Callum that disintegrates after with help from his father. Because by the
Mm-hmm.
way, that scene with his father, like there was this one line that I said that kind of tests to the testament towards how Callum saw his stepfather, like how he didn't think of him as like I guess his real father, or he didn't love him to the same extent as he probably would have a real father.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing that King says is like, I don't know, this is your dream kid, and then scoots off. I find that interesting that he calls him kid versus son. Now,
Yeah.
a lot of times, like some parents probably will refer their their sons as kid, but I feel like that was is a bigger testament towards how Callum saw that what he thought his father, his stepfather saw of him, and like even after finding out that his stepfather loved him very much and stuff like that, after reading that note in his mind, he still has that like that whole image of him, or his like his thought of him is like maybe like I know I'm not his real son. Well, does he see me that way? I think I'm reading too much into that, but I thought it was interesting, that the last thing he says to him is like, "This is your dream, kid." I was like, "Wow." Now you're gonna call him Callum. Now you're gonna call him son. Just call him kid and get out.
Mm-hmm.
But I was wondering maybe if that whole accepting dark magic was something that they saw in their mind. Because I mean, when he does reject him, we see him like I guess his true form, and it's like very ugly looking. We know that Varen looks that way now, and he needs to think use life magic to look the look I guess his normal self, and
You
apparently
see Claudia kind of slipping to the dark side little by little too, solving her problems with dark magic and
I was about to get to that.
yeah.
Essentially, yeah, she slips in the dark magic, and I'm gonna say this now. Before we start doing this, weekly thing, I accidentally, I think it was like maybe like 2 weeks ago, whatever. I saw an image of Claudia with like the white strip of her hair. Like,
Yeah.
I got spoiled on that because I wasn't aware when that was gonna happen or whatever, or what that meant. I'm glad and now I know what happened. Her
It makes me wonder now if her purple hair is like a style choice or something that happened.
well, I was able to get into that actually. they bring up that woman that Varen calls his wife isn't her mother, which is interesting. They bring up the fact. Well, she brings up the fact that their mother, their biological mother, is in another town or whatever. I wonder where she is and if we're gonna see her again. Uh, cause like before she was supposed to talk with like Aaron, the prince. After he finds out that his father is dead, this is all happens when Callum's asleep. By the way, and he's out dealing with his own demons. Um,
Right.
he finds out from the tracker who now was their friend that he's dead and he's the king now. He has to deal with his own demons and figure out. He first talks to Claudia and she reveals that that her mother was like that they weren't her mother and father weren't getting along, so they separated, and she was told that she had to make a choice about staying with like her or staying with their father, but she tells her to stay with her brother because he chose his father. I think it was really interesting too because like even that whole Soren choosing to stay with his father, something
Mm-hmm.
that Soren says, and it kind of makes me realize he's a lot more of a deeper character than I originally thought he was. And it's like I kind of want to know more about Soren now because Soren pretty much he goes to the whole spiel. He reveals to Claudia after he finds out that he can't like walk ever again. He goes to the spiel that I just want my father to love me. I don't think he loves me as much as he loves you. Well, he doesn't say that, but I'm almost guaranteed that was also tagging on at the end of that sentence. Because
Right.
Claudia cuts him off, saying, "No, no, father loves you very much." I'm like, mm-hmm, uh-huh. I was just like, uh-huh. Uh-huh. I kept on saying, I just kept like, you don't see what's going on here. Soren that may
Mm-hmm.
not be the brightest bulb of you two, but he's a lot more perceptive than you think he is. Sometimes.
Do you
Um,
think Claudia is going to be a good character by the end of this?
I don't know, considering how much she as far as I can tell, I don't know how 100% true this is. I think her use of magic is what defines her, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like one of those things where she also used her brother as a way to define her. She's her brother's keeper. Um, pretty much like he's talking about joking around. I mean, he was serious about becoming a haiku, a poet. Um, and she ran away saying he can't even like count or like count the number of syllables in words. I mean, he looks away. She's walking away, and she says that, but it's like we see a lot more of like what she truly I guess perceives of her brother. It's still love there. It's definitely different than the Azula and Zuko thing, but I mean, it's still there that like she may resent him a little bit because even when she told that story to to the prince about like the why she's stuck with her brother, because of her mother, you kind of I kind of get the feeling that maybe she resents him a little bit. Like, maybe if he had chosen the mother, maybe she'd still be with her mother right now because it shows that she misses her a lot. Um, which is quite interesting that they get that little bit of character from her. But I don't know, honestly. I'm still leaning that she might go crazy psycho, and some of what I saw this episode too kind of makes me think that heavily now, like more heavily. She might not go psycho, but I think if anything, she might not come out the good end of this. I don't think she might get like she might get scarred like very deeply. I don't know what would cause it, but
I don't know either, but like, I don't know, like, there's a lot of things that could fix her if she's willing to take it. Like, there's like, it looks like Soren is kind of learning how to use magic. You know what I mean? And he's
Soren,
going
you
to
mean
be
Callum?
Callum. I'm sorry, Callum is learning how to use magic, and he. It looks like it's possibly something he could teach, and he could be like bringing magic to the humans, and she could learn it. She told him once that like humans don't have magic, and she justifies using black magic because that's their way of adapting and surviving. He could be the solution for that if he's like, no, we can learn magic. We can learn as much magic as we want. Like he could actually kind of pull her out of that, and be hope for her. You see her feeling very conflicted and emotional about situations where where she's expected to hurt people that she cares about, or Soren was expected to straight out go and kill those people. you see her kind of like breaking rank sometimes and like going back and forth between betraying them and like not knowing what to do. You know what I mean? Like where she's just like, I don't know, like I can't necessarily kill him, you know, or when she does something, she really regrets it. Like I know she's Lord Varen's like favorite and most trusted person, but you see a lot of it. Like he's even holding secrets from her.
Well, the
I think
thing,
she doesn't. She's having fewer and fewer reasons to, um, I don't know, to take care of it. You know what I mean? Like to take care of him and be loyal to Lord Varen. I think she's like feeling more and more conflicted, and I would love to see her go to the other side. But like I know that's what we're being led to believe right now is that she's kind of a mixed option. So
well, the
it'd be
thing
really
is,
interesting to see where she goes.
the thing is too, like I say that Soren's a lot more perceptive than she gives him credit for. I'm not saying that he's more perceptive than her. I think what's gonna happen, and it's like it's the whole Varen thing. I think because like when he revealed to her that he was suspected to kill the princess and he couldn't do it. Granted, I would say I kind of find that hard to kind of believe. Granted, I mean it was probably him and this like he wants his father to love him. Like that whole Zuko thing. I want my dad to love me. That's why I'm out here catching Avatar. Like
Yeah,
it's kind of
she's
it's.
very Zuko in some places, isn't she?
I thought it was Soren.
Well, she's very Zuko too because like
Well, she has
she's
like
Zuko.
she has
She's
like
Zuko more than Soren is because she has to she's in a position of power. She's a prodigy in her like in her abilities, and she's constantly in a position where she has to betray people for her father's approval. She's like a little bit Azulus, a little bit of Zuko.
I see her more of a Zula because I mean Zuko was the prodigy. His sister was, but he wasn't.
Zuko,
No, like they said, like they actually came out with it in that series. They kept on talking about it. Even Zuko said that she can do things I can't do. Like crying out loud, like he even called her a prodigy.
Zuko ended as the better firebender than Azula though.
I mean, yeah, I get that, but I mean, I like everything in the show, even Zuko. 'Cause you can argue that Zuko's the prodigy, really, but at the same time, like the show kept on hammering that, she was just a better firebender. Granted, like one of the main reasons why Zuko came out at the top is because he utilized the fact that he was stable mentally and she wasn't, and he picked up on that a long time ago. I forgot when he picked up on that
He
she
wasn't
wasn't.
stable. He was given guidance that helped him become stable.
But yeah, when that last fight though, he was in with her. He was stable. He was mentally stable at that point. He had
Yeah,
he had finally come to realizing where he was meant to be in all this.
but they
And
traded positions. Zuko was the one that was messed with his entire life, and he healed from it and recovered from it. And when they both went out into the real world, she's the one that fell apart and not him.
I'm
Like,
not trying to I'm not trying to make Zuko's win any less. I'm just saying that like he
yeah,
pretty much he was the smarter fighter in that regard. And
I think he was. I think he was a prodigy, but he was keeping himself down. I think he didn't realize what a prodigy he was.
I don't know because I mean if he was a prodigy, they would have like been hammering that out there as well. I mean they kept on like I mean
Iroh
granted,
believed in him. Iroh
yep.
believed in him to the point of death. Like Iroh brought him to special opportunities to learn and grow, and Zuko over and over again took it on. And Zuko like pointed out like the narrative of I've gone as far as I'm going to go because I've fought for everything and I've learned everything. And he's doesn't realize it, but he repeatedly overcame everything that was put in his way and struggled and grew and grew and grew and grew and learned things and like was developed and nurtured, whereas Azula was like groomed, you know what I mean, from birth to and given everything she wanted, and he knew that it wasn't true because he was also wise. But he moved himself to like a lesser position where she sucked up and was going after power. But Zuko was the one at the end that found the true path and found the way to get higher than Azula did. So I don't know.
That's a
That'd
hard
be like
worker.
calling
That's
Goku.
not a prodigy. That's a hard worker. And I guess
That'd be
before
like
you get,
calling Goku not a prodigy because Vegeta was stronger than him at the beginning of Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I was looking at the definition of prodigy because I just wanted to get the definition of it. A person, especially a young one, endowed with exceptional qualities or abilities. Technically speaking, with this definition, Vegeta would be a prodigy because he was a actually no, I take that back. No, Goku was like gifted. I mean, Goku was gifted, but it took him a while to get those gifts. Zuko was like
Mhm.
what like Zuko is like I think the perfect definition of what a like the whole idea of hard work gets results type of thing,
Mhm.
and you become exceptionally strong through hard work and perseverance. That's what I
Goku
consider.
wouldn't
That's
have
what I
surpassed Vegeta if he hadn't had amazing teachers.
Yeah, but I'm just saying like Prodigy here
Vegeta
is
was keeping
somebody
right
who's
up with Vegeta was keeping right up with Goku for the most part throughout the entire series, despite not having a teacher. Goku had Roshi. He had Master. Goku had Roshi. He had um, the cat. He had Roshi's master for a little while. He had King Kai. He had teachers all the way through, people that taught him different things. He had the people that taught him instrumentation, off screen, all that stuff. He had teacher after teacher after teacher and sparring partners to learn from at the same time. Vegeta would go off on his own. He would still come back almost as powerful as Goku every single time. Started out the series more powerful than Goku. Goku surpassed Vegeta early on, yes, but at the same time, he surpassed Vegeta early on mostly because he had all these crutches and all these things teaching him. But we wouldn't doubt that Goku was a prodigy, and I don't think we should doubt that Zuko's a prodigy. Just because he didn't start the series more powerful than her, I think it's a testament to his natural ability that he
what
was able to grow so fast once he hit fertile ground,
I'm
through the teachers that he had.
what I'm saying is a prodigy is somebody who at a very young age is capable of exuding a lot of like capability. They're at an adult level. Zuko wasn't at that level. It took him like probably by the end you can consider him a prodigy. But I just consider that a hard worker because I've seen shows that do something with his character a lot, with the whole hard worker thing. Besides Goku, there's a character in Naruto called Rock Lee. Well, actually, no, take that back. There's a character like Might Guy in that show,
Mhm.
and he's essentially shown to be really bad at everything he's ever tried. He can't do special attacks like ninjutsu in that world. He only
So
learned.
Goku and Vegeta are just hard workers.
Yeah, I mean that's essentially it's like at least in that universe, their hard work is what produced a lot of the godlike potential that they had. Is like because like I
So
mean
Goku and Vegeta are not prodigies.
they considered him I'm pretty sure you can become prodigy at some point. But I mean, I was looking at
Mhm.
child prodigy, and I mean, it's like that's what Azula was. I'm not saying that Zuko wasn't stronger or
Mhm.
didn't have the potential, Azula. It's just one of those things where she came out the womb already capable of all this stuff. Like actually like Frieza, for instance. I guess Frieza would be considered a prodigy because he didn't have to.
He didn't
He, he
even train.
he had everything. He had everything at his disposal at a very young age. I understand. Like I'm not like all I was really saying is wasn't denying Zuko's abilities. I mean, for crying out loud, he definitely beat Azula. Granted, he also
Mhm.
admitted that because of her instability in her mind, he had an easier time with it.
Mhm.
He also had
You
help
can
of.
say what you want, but Zuko was able to defeat much more powerful people throughout the entire, like very, very powerful people, including powerful firebenders, all the way through the series. He was holding his own against the Avatar. He had that one time where he had that showdown against that Fire Nation general, and he beat him in a sparring match because he was the superior, and the guy had to resort to trying to attack him in the back. Um, there were a lot of times where Zuko proved that even though even when you hold him up to like the Fire Lord and Azula, he might not have been the most powerful of the three, but
Okay,
put him up
I'm
against
getting
almost
I'm getting conflicting definitions here. Um,
put put
okay,
Zuko up against almost anybody except Azula and the Fire Lord, and he was a match. He could at least hold his own.
no, I get that, but like I was looking at this, I'm getting conflicting definitions. Apparently, there's a difference between being a prodigy and being a child prodigy. I guess what it is that Zuko, Goku and Vegeta can be prodigies. Granted, I think Vegeta was probably a child prodigy versus being a prodigy, but it looks like child prodigy is defined differently than an actual prodigy because it does confirm that you're naturally talented at something. that you become a master at it as a child, but it looks like I think from the way they're talking about it, you couldn't easily get there. Then
Mm-hmm.
again, they have a protege, and maybe that's what Goku is. I mean, there's different conflicting definitions here, but like, I mean, I guess it also really depends. I guess this is the ultimate thing I'm going to say about this is that I think prodigy really just determines like, I mean, it means whatever the person is using the word wanted to mean. So in your case, Goku and Vegeta can be a prodigy. Uh, I think Frieza might qualify as a child prodigy, but at the same time, he was also still strong when he became an adult. So it's one of those things where like, I think the word just it has a lot of definitions and it means whatever the person needs it to mean at that time. Um, they were like 2 minutes before 11 o'clock, but well, hmm. I think we're done with episode 8. I mean, besides like Callum waking up, I think he wakes up in episode 8. Actually, I think he still remains asleep. Wait, Jack, hello.
I'm here.
Oh, sorry. I thought I lost connection to you. Um, does Callum stay asleep in episode 8? Is it episode 9 that he wakes up in?
Yeah, it's episode 9.
Okay, well, entire episode 8, he's like dealing with his own demons, and he also ends up going through his mind of like figuring out I guess like everything in his mind, and ends up drowning. I guess in all information because he ends up falling into the water and drowning. And okay, I guess it has. I guess it's official at this point. They kind of just blurted it out there. They didn't say it in so many words, but okay. I'm past the point that the woman has to be his mother. I'm I'm past the point of that have the there's no way she couldn't be. She's in his mind helping him go through everything, tell him to breathe, calls him sweetie, yet that's definitely his mother.
Maybe
So
it's
let
his
me
ex-girlfriend or something, you know? You don't know.
no, that's his mother. But that's his mother telling him like, just to understand everything you gotta take a deep breath, which is I guess gives him the key to be able to sort through everything. I guess they kind of have a funny. I don't know why they decided to throw this moment in there. I mean, I was kind of shipping Reina and Callum together to be a couple, but I wasn't gonna just outright say it, and I kind of just, I'm not. I don't know. Like, I don't know interracial couples can exist to that extent in this world because I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if you can be half of something and half another species. Um, so it's one thing I wasn't sure, and I'm still not sure if you can or cannot. Because we haven't seen that yet. But I don't know why they threw this scene in here when he was like, Reina was talking to him while he was in a coma. Uh, I guess if we get to that point, um, we got to go back to the prince and talking to Claudia about everything. Um, as he's pretty like the prince is pretty perceptive. Wouldn't you say? After being told that his father's dead, he ends up picking apart that the main reason why the band that she didn't have to worry about getting off disappeared because the father died, and it was just like he was like he picked that apart really quickly. I wasn't expecting him to be that perceptive. So I
Yeah.
mean that was quite interesting. But pretty much to see at that point he comes back after everything that happened, and apparently he comes back after he wakes up. That's what happens. He ends up coming back after he wakes up. Apparently Callum didn't know, which was kind of funny that wait, he was gone. After he's like displaying that he can do magic. Which by the way, this is really important that Callum can do magic by just drawing symbols into thin air. Because
It's
we have
basically the first known time of that happening
well for Callum, but
for a human.
well yeah, but pretty much this is all simultaneously happening as they're forming a coup. Well, not a coup, but the woman that I guess I keep calling her his wife, but I don't think that's the case. I could be wrong about that, but I'm gonna sit here and say I don't think maybe he married her. I don't even Claudia even mentions that woman about like where she fits into the grand scheme of things. She doesn't even mention that Varian goes out and gets married to another woman. But
Mhm.
so I think I've probably been wrong in that referring to that woman as his wife, but like she's out there trying to arrest him, which is kind of funny that like I'm surprised that she's been as like important to this entire story as she's been. Um, I'm actually gonna curious what this means for her character moving forward. But they're looking all over the castle for him because they can't find him. He's inside like the his secret room with the mirror, talking to this guy who, by the way, gave him a earwig so he could talk to him into his ear. And it seems very obvious here that Varen's being manipulated, but to what end I couldn't tell you. Um, I think it peers into this whole like I think this guy knows a lot more than he's letting on. Even saying that he was trapped inside the mirror, but apparently Varen doesn't believe that. They never come back
Mhm.
to that idea either, to how he got into the mirror in the first place. He says he doesn't know where he is, and Varen doesn't believe him either. So it's just one of those things where I'm actually kind of curious. Like, are we gonna learn a little bit more about Erebos? Um, is there more than one Erebos? Is that why maybe the king doesn't really, talk too much about Erebos? I don't really know. But clearly, this episode 9 is like when all things hit the fan. I mean, everything freaking happens. Like Callan can use magic. The prince ends up deciding that he's gonna go back to the kingdom to take his place on the throne. I
Yeah,
don't know
this
how.
is one of the most amazing payoff episodes. You follow everything that's going on, but everything that's happening is so densely packed in.
But yeah, but everything like he ends up saying that he's gonna go back to the kingdom to take his place on the throne to see if he can help out from there. He ends up leaving Zim with Callum and Reyna as they go off to do their thing. Like I'm trying to figure out. I feel like a thing like this happened in Avatar where they split up, and they split up for a very long time, but I can't think of it. I mean, you're the Avatar's expert here, so I don't like you probably can think of it faster than I can. But we're split up here, and now well, it's episode 9 of season 2, so this is the ending. So we know that he's heading back. As they get closer to Zadia, they come up to a lava pool thing that they had to cross, and they bring this up earlier on in the episode that Cal was like, "How one just does not walk into Zadia," and then Reyna's like, "Actually, one can by the moon path." And I was like, "Wait a minute, we're just not hearing about this," and
Mhm.
and we get to the point where they had to cross that lava pool, and they reveal that that these stones sink into the water really fast. But there's a path that you can traverse that they don't sink too fast. But
Right.
it only gets revealed during a moon being I guess a moon being beaming brightly into the volcano area, and they found out there's a path with runes drawn out there, which is interesting enough that I'm surprised they were able to do this. But clearly these stones only float as long as they do when the moon's just beaming down on them. So much so that
Mhm.
as they're crossing it, the moon. I don't quite understand what happened, but I think the moon got covered by the clouds because it was cloudy at the very beginning of the scene till the moon
Right.
came out. So I think the moon got covered, and then essentially they're crossing and they realize that they can't move because if they move, they're kind of screwed. Pretty much we see Zim kind of panicking when it was going on. He's looking up at a crevice in the sky, at least in the rock formation where you can see the sun rising. And I guess all this is happening. This is the weirdest thing. I think he might be gaining powers. I can't for certain say that, but like I think the prince is like he's a telepath or an animal empath because he starts like hearing, being able to talk to Zim through his mind, can see everything that
Mhm.
Zim is seeing, and it's like through this, ironically, as Jock was saying, payoffs, Zim manages to fly. I mean, he ends up like falling a little bit until like Callum uses the air that wind spell to give him a gust so he can fly up. But it was like the most important thing because now we know that Zim can fly. He's not afraid of falling anymore, and he pretty much like does like the heroic dragon stance with his wings spread out and his neck turned. He's just like, he
Mhm.
pretty much just covers like everything, and because it's dark now. Now they can see the runes and they get across the lava,
Right.
only to be met by, I forgot his name, but Reyna said it. They meet another dragon. And I'm like, dang, there's just been like dragons everywhere.
Right.
Like this is ridiculous. There's more dragons in this than there were in Avatar, for obvious reasons. But it was really weird, and this comes down to the fact that like we still might be able to get a talking dragon. I think. Um, I'm not gonna hold my breath on that one because he could just be one of those dragons that's important because they're like one of the forefront runners. But I didn't think there would be a dragon like guarding that gateway. Did you?
Um, it made perfect sense to me when it happened. I was like, oh yeah, the number 2 dragon's in place now. Not quite as good as number 1, but will stop a lot of stuff.
You just had to fit that My Hero Academia reference in there, didn't you?
I wasn't even doing that. But yeah, that makes sense. Because, this is a fire dragon. The other one's just the best dragon.
Well, all dragons can breathe fire. We saw that other one.
We don't know that for sure. We don't know if, in a lot of other mythos, different dragons breathe different things. Sometimes poison gas, sometimes lightning or cold or something like that. It just depends on the mythos. We don't know that all dragons breathe fire. We just know that one of them breathes fire so far. We've only seen one dragon breath, haven't we? It's a red dragon. The red dragons are the ones that typically breathe fire.
I guess, but yeah, it makes sense that there'd be a dragon guarding the gate. I just didn't think about it. And I'm just sitting there like, there's a lot of dragons around here. How in the world does one just walk in this area? I'm still curious about that.
And that Lord of the Rings reference was so cheesy too.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to enlighten me on this Lord of the Rings reference.
There's a Lord of the Rings reference. It's become a meme where he goes, "One does not simply walk into Mordor."
Oh,
and that's what they were referencing when they say one doesn't simply walk into Zadia.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I didn't think that was a reference, but I guess it makes sense to be a reference.
Oh, it's a total reference. It's an immediate. Jesse and I, when we were watching it, immediately recognized it. It's a really, really popular meme. One does not.
I'm aware of that meme, and I recognized it, but I didn't think it was a reference. I guess now you say that, it makes total sense as a reference, because why else would they say that? They didn't have to say one does not walk in his Zadia. They could just walk in there and realize that, oh, we're screwed.
Or say in any other of 50,000 other ways.
That's also true, but like they hadn't say anything. They could just like shown up and, hello, there's a big dragon who is now taking the place of that other dragon that died, the sky dragon.
Mm-hmm.
But we in season 2.
Isn't it cool and kind of symbolic that when the dragon jumps up and opens its wings to cover the rising sun, that the dragon is tiny but the shadow is huge? I love that like little symbolic moment that they bring into it.
I guess I didn't think about it in symbology, but that does make sense. I just thought it was kind of cute the way he pretty much stood like a dragon. Zim kind of stands like noble dragons, which I guess makes sense because he's a noble dragon.
Yeah.
But like he kind of stands with a little bit of nobility when he's like doing that typical dragon pose where like they're just like they're low to the ground, but their wings are spread out so far and their neck is just turned in such a way that it makes like a really interesting symbol. But like I said before, I think it goes on to that whole like it looks like I think the best case scenario what happened with the egg falling into the water is actually paying off now because they probably wouldn't have been able to get that dragon to leave earlier if it wasn't for Zim actually just physically being there and being hatched. Because it seemed pretty clear that his presence there at least scared her enough to the point where she pretty much stopped what she was doing and flew away. So I think what's gonna happen now is that we're gonna probably see a lot of dragons coming up, and like Zim is gonna be the thing that gets them through. So like we're getting closer to the end goal, which is returning the dragon back to where he belongs. Um, but I honestly think it's gonna be a little bit hard to do that, and not really in the getting there, or at least like hand the dragon over. It's gonna be more like Zim, as we saw when Aaron was leaving, or was Aaron? Is that dang it? I keep forgetting his name. The prince. I keep doing Ezrin. Dang it! Why is his name so difficult to remember? When Ezrin's leaving, when Ezrin's trying to leave, I'm doing what you're doing in My Hero Academia. This is gonna be a common thing, isn't it? I can remember Japanese names, but I can't remember names like this. What is wrong with my brain?
That's all right.
But Ezra's trying to leave, and the dragon's like, no, don't go. He's doing the typical like pet, not wanting you to leave it alone type of thing. It's like doing those noises and making those cute noises. And I I was like, yeah, I had a feeling he imprinted on that dragon. He imprinted onto that dragon. Like there was no way that he did not imprint on that dragon. Um, and I guess it kind of shows too with the way that they had that shared vision. So
Hmm.
it's gonna be quite interesting now when you think about it. Now that like Ezran being the new king has now shared a vision with the new king of the Zadia world. Now it's just kind of funny. The two princes are now about to go to separate ways, and and it's gonna be interesting to see in the future like how that develops in terms of like now he can just talk to Zen whenever he wants to in his mind, as long as they have that connection established.
Right.
So like I mean, if anything, he might be the key. Ezra might be the key to stopping all this nonsensical war. But I guess a little bit backtrack to that, or at least when all that's happening at the same time, we're talking about lots of things happening and things hitting the roof, hitting the fan as we get close to ending this. Um, Varric is not Varric, but Varen. That's no Varric. No, I take that back. Varric was awesome in Avatar, but Varen is like I like that character, pretty much he's in there. He's talking to because like appearance this elf has been telling him what to do, and I said before, it's quite clear that this guy is manipulating him. To what end, I don't know. Maybe he's trying to get out of the mirror, because it's quite clear that he can't do it alone, considering that he had since he had him get all this stuff to be able to communicate with him
Yeah.
with a little like a little portal potion just to get an earwig over to him to communicate to him in his ear. It's quite clear that he's got some agenda and he's not a student of it, and he's definitely being manipulated. So much so that he's telling him to unleash shadow demons over on the other kingdoms. At first, I thought he was going to unleash it on his kingdom, and I was like, "What is that going to do?" But then apparently, quite clearly, he was sending them over to the other kingdoms, so they think that shadow elves are doing it. Um, it
So
doesn't. Hmm,
it's kind of amazing here too.
what?
If you were to watch the episode 9 from about 1930 forward, this is a little detail I missed the first time around. Did you notice that the he was he was using multiple types of magic? It looks like at least fire, ice, and earth, or something like that. But as he's striking those guards, as Lord Viren's striking them, one of them turns to ice and shatters. One of them turns to dust, and then he casts a lightning spell and knocks everybody back. But that's not him casting that magic. That's him spinning his staff around, and the elf is casting that magic through him.
Yeah, I noticed that after he got arrested, because once he disappears from the mirror, his eyes I know they're still black, but you see a light flash in his eyes and disappear as he's saying that I will be here with you. The light disappears from it, and I was gonna bring it up too. It's like while when Callum was first casting the air spell, he's doing the exact
Mhm.
same thing in the fight with those guys with those knights. He's doing the exact same thing. He's actually drawing symbols in the mirror, and we're seeing him do this too. So it's
Yeah.
clearly, yeah, it's quite clear that and actually maybe what's going to happen too is that maybe the idea was to get that earwig out of him because they definitely come out of his mouth. Maybe he's going to use it to possess him
Maybe.
because it's quite
But
interesting
it's
that
interesting how much magic that wizard was channeling through him for all that stuff to happen, like I said, he sets all those things off. Another little detail is that Pip the bird, um, the basket gets knocked over and the bird flies out the window at one point. That
yeah
was the
I
bird that used to belong to the king. So I have a feeling that bird is gonna have um, some role in the future too, don't you?
yeah I didn't bring it I didn't bring it because I forgot about the small details, but I definitely did see that bird fly out the window, and I thought, he's probably going to go out with me with Ezrin. That's probably what's going to
There's a
happen.
lot of setup here for the future. I love it. As
I mean,
much as they resolved in this episode, like they brought up so much more setup. It's just a wonderful episode. Season 2, episode 9 is like the best episode so far.
it's a season finale, and of course things will pop off. I just didn't think that much will pop off, such as Callum learning magic. As we're going back to becoming the king, um, he gets arrested. Varen gets arrested. Like a lot of
Yeah,
stuff
just like
freaking
no
happened.
way you don't want to watch 50 more episodes of this after this episode.
Like, there's a lot
I'm gonna be
happened.
so mad if they cancel this series because it's so friggin' good.
Well, season four's already been confirmed, but they don't know when it's gonna come out. So
Like
after,
I'm
after
totally forgiving the bad animation. And this is like a little bit of a leap on my side, but the fact that
I thought it was much better in this episode. Like I honestly didn't see any real hiccups. Everything
yeah,
was fluid to me.
it was. One thing I noticed though is if you watch some cartoons, especially older cartoons, you'll notice things like characters having four fingers sometimes. And even old Bugs Bunny cartoons, you'll know if it's a high budget or a low budget episode, because if it's a high budget episode, Bugs Bunny will have three whiskers, four whiskers. If it's a low budget one, it'll have three, or it's either that or it's three and two. I forget which one it is. But they don't like to animate extra things. I think it's a really cool trick that they did to give elves four fingers as one of their defining traits, because that meant that they had to animate one less finger. Especially because this elf in particular, her hand is such a big central part to the episode. I think it's really, really smart of them from a budget standpoint to give elves one less finger as one of their defining traits.
Yeah, I guess as we get this to a close. Speaking of the magic, I kind of know you say you're running on fumes, and we're already way past 11. We're at
I know.
18 minutes here, but I hope I don't think they're gonna do it, but I hope because I know they got a bigger budget for season 3. um,
Yeah.
one of my favorite things about magic casting in any fiction is that sometimes they typically use magic circles, and those look so beautiful in English. I don't know why. I don't know what they do. I know fairy tale. Like I mean, it's Japanese animation for that one, but like when they do magic circles, a lot of times really high level magic looks really pretty. Granted, with how fast that guy was casting all that magic through him, no less, I am afraid of that guy in a fight because, like, it's one of those weird things. Like, wait a minute, we know that each tribe has their own like magic to claim. Why is it that he can learn all this? And then speaking of learning magic, now that we know Callum has learned the Sky Arcanum, they're setting up the Avatar plot for him because he's gonna get all the magic.
He totally is. And then his arch nemesis is probably going to be that elf that's also already learned all of them.
So I was sitting there looking like they just opened up the door for Callum now. He can just learn this stuff now. He's just gotta get the components in his mind, figure out how to do it, and like the next thing he's gonna have to learn is doing that lightning attack again. I don't know how he's gonna learn to do that, but like I feel like he might be able to do it because it's probably connected to the sky. So I mean, if he can do that sky, actually, I think the lightning spell is a part of Sky Arcana. So if he's already learned how to like draw the symbol for the air, he can just draw the symbol for the lightning thing, and he'll be ready to go. He'll be able to cast offensive magic because he's gonna need it now they're in the magical realm of Zadia. It's gonna be ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure it's gonna be confusing a lot of people over there too that humans can't learn magic. Why is this human being able to?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna set up some interesting dialogue between him and some characters now because it's like, aren't you human? But with that with that being said, we now know we got all this set up for season 3 and the final season up to this point. Um, I have to come back next week for the next 3 episodes of the beginning of season 3. That's gonna be interesting to watch in terms of like how they I guess what changes there in terms of animation because we know there's gonna probably be a lot to be changed. Not too
Yeah.
much, but it's gonna be enough to the point where we're gonna notice. I'm hoping that the animation that was shown here is like what's gonna be going forward. Cause like I didn't see any going back on it. I don't think I saw any hiccups in there. It was very even like Varen casting spells. It should even I guess the testament to the fluidity. Like Eivros was casting all those spells like 1 second after the other. Well, that's 1 second, but like it was enough. He was doing it fast enough that it was like noticeable that it was very fluid. I think whatever they're using, they're getting used to it now. So like I can't wait to see. I mean, now we got these big dragons, which I think by the way now I'm saying that it's probably one of the reasons why we haven't really seen dragons been flying around.
Yeah.
'Cause I know
Do you
those
think
take a
this will
lot.
be the episode where Froppy comes in?
And good night, everybody. There's a well, actually, it could be like a green character. I don't know. I mean, we haven't seen green elves yet, so there's always a possibility.
The closest we have is Rayla.
I guess. I mean, we still have yet to see. It's actually kind of weird. I said good night, everybody, but like let's talk about. But I don't know. I guess we're
You're
gonna.
done recording, right?
No, actually, we're still alive. 1 minute. We're
Oh my
saying
god.
truly good night, everybody.